Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Levi and Russo today. We're in some local woods nearby. Got a new tarp specifically for making tarp shelters. We're going to give it a try setting up a couple different setups, try to get a sense of whether or not the dimensions and space will be useful on the trail. So we're not staying out tonight. We're just going to try the different setups and see how they work. Alright, so it's a pretty nice big clearing. Clearly some people already know it's a good spot. Gonna find a place to get the camera set up and start setting up our tarp tent. Alright, so we found our spot. We're gonna set it up facing this way, mostly for the sake of the camera angle. We're gonna get everything out and get set up. The tarp that we're going to use is this Gold Armour 12 foot by 10 foot tarp from Amazon. I think I got it for about $38 on Amazon. It's one of the cheapest tarps that's really designed to be used for any kind of structure. It's got a lot of tie outs on it, which makes it pretty amenable. And then we're going to try to use one of my hiking poles as the front door, the front post in the front door to hold everything up. The tarp weighs a little over 2 pounds. I'm sure if you find the specs on Amazon, it'll have all the specific details and people who've weighed it. I don't have a gram scale to be able to go into all that. It comes with tent stakes as well as some tie-outs, which we're going to give a shot today. The stakes are really light, but also probably very cheap and not terribly sturdy. I also brought some of my aluminum tent stakes that I use for my tent. We'll give these a try and see. They won't bite right directly into the tie-outs, so you'll have to use the on the tarp. So you'll have to use the actual guy lines that are supplied in order to do that. And there seems to be looks like 6 guy lines provided. All right, we've got the tarp laid out. We're going to set up first the larger inside area structure, which will give more room, maybe a little bit longer for taller people. Actually, also will give a little bit of area that doesn't have a floor, which might be nice for boots and that kind of a thing. So we're going to start out with that. First thing, we're going to fold it in half along the longest side. We're going to stake out this back corner. This is going to end up being like the center line of the tent, so this will really line up directly with the door. So kind of plan this accordingly. Then we need to start planning the front here. So I'm going to use my hiking pole fully extended, just shy of about 6 feet as that center pole to hold the front up. Two sides are going to come together to meet, and that's going to be the front. So you then need to find the corner, which nicely on the tarp has tie-outs, exactly the right spot. We're going to drop the center while we go ahead and stake those out nicely. I want to make sure I've got a nice taut line center back there. Maybe we'll have to adjust these once I've got the center hiking pole up. start with, that should do. Gonna need some line to help stabilize that front pole. So open up these very bright guy lines, which I suppose are great if you don't want to trip on them at night, but certainly not inconspicuous. Alright, so that's kind of a shot of what our inside space looks like right now. I'm gonna bring you down and we'll get a head-on look inside. Alright, so there's definitely room for Russo and I. We could fit a pack in here without a problem. We could get Russo's backpack off without a problem. Shoes aren't even on the actual tarp part, which is great. Just to avoid bringing in the mud. I could get my sleeping bag in here. And this would be doable. A lot of headroom up at the top that's not really being used unless you're sitting up, but certainly feasible. And that front is really holding well with the hiking pole. I'm impressed with that. The guy line on the other side holding it out. All right, so we'll check out the other setup and see what we think about it. It's gonna be a little bit tighter, but Roos doesn't mind cuddling, so. Okay, let's get that set up. All right, so we're gonna set the second shelter. This will be lower, longer. Hoping that means that the feet won't be touching the tarp so much down to the back, but it will be a lot lower in the front. Might be better, more tightly sealed too from the wind than the front was here. If we got higher on this one, we might have been able to get the front sealed better, but let's set up this longer, lower version and see how that does. Yeah, it'd be great to be able to tie that out as well. But, you know, for what we've got, let's walk around and see it. So this is one that you can open either using this as your door, kind of open it to the front, and you've got your pole right there when you're going in and out. But you can also use the side here and peel it back this way. I have staked out that little spot there, but we're gonna now try getting inside and seeing how that does for it. I think I'll pull the front door back just so you can see, and then maybe we'll hook it back on once we're inside. This kind of creates almost an ideal size little door here, at least for me. I'm sure Russo won't have any problem walking in either, but we're going to see what the space looks like inside. All right, so it is definitely longer, definitely narrower. It's sealed up better than the other shelter was. The narrowness might mean that a sleeping bag might touch on the sides, but certainly your feet are going to be much more apt to be dry if you get condensation. So I'm going to give this a try, and then we'll bring Russo in. All right, yeah, so there's plenty of room in here for us to be able to lay down. Yeah. Pack would probably need to go up here, use as a pillow, because without the width, it's harder to make room for all the gear and that kind of thing. It'd be great to be able to guide this out a bit better, but this would definitely be workable also. Yeah. All right, so I'm happy with how both of those turned out. I think either would be useful for camping. The long and low is a little bit easier to set up, more likely to stay dry if you end up with a lot of condensation inside the tent. It's easier to set up tightly sealed. So that, you know, might be the first one that I would try. Still plenty of room for Russo in there as well. I think a lot of the shortcomings on the structures today were my own limitations, with it being the first time setting them up and not having a lot of branches and things to tie out to. But even as it was, it definitely would have been comfortable for overnight use. I'm looking forward to taking them out and doing some camping in them, a little bit lighter than tent. I think for the cost, I mean, it's a great tarp for that cost. It has so many tie outs that, you know, if you want to get a tarp, whether it's just for a hammock or just a tarp to be able to, you know, put up for picnic above or under as a sunshade or as underneath you, seems great. In terms of for structure, it seems really versatile. I don't know about durability yet. It feels kind of thin, but also Russo stepping on it didn't shred it, so that's a good sign. We'll see how well it holds up. You know, for that cost, to get a tent that you want to actually carry for an overnight or multi-overnight, it's going to be a lot more than the cost of that tarp. So I think if you're comfortable with tying some knots and nothing fancy, but just being able to get it folded and put together right, it's a very viable option for a structure to get started with camping. You know, tents are a little bit easier in the sense that you just put the poles together, put them where they're supposed to go, and it stands itself up, but this really wasn't complicated or hard, so should definitely be thought of as an option. So we'll see how it does with an actual camping trip. Russo's ready to go. If you've got any comments about how to make the channel better, the filming, what you want to see, what you want to hear, let me know. I will link the videos that I got those structures from in the description, so you can go and find. They do a better job, kind of step-by-step, how to build those structures. I more wanted to focus on using this tarp to make those structures. So let me know if there's anything that you'd like to see, different, and we'll get the next video out soon. All right, bye.